to tell people, hey, if we don't get at least 30, 40 people here, then I'm going to stop doing these. There's over 900 people in the group. And I know people have questions. So let's see. I was looking at some keywords for not very competitive products, which have potential. Some of the keywords had very low search volume, around 300, but the suggested bids were around 2. Any experience with situations like these? Depends on the type of product. Is it a super expensive product? If it's expensive, people are more willing to spend more money on the advertising, since their break-even point is a little bit more. So that could be a big reason of why those bids are a little bit more expensive. So let me know if that's the case on that particular product.
Hey, Trevor. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't think he's hearing us.
Sorry, I don't know if you said anything. I just had my computer on mute, so I needed to turn up my volume. Yeah, sorry, say that again.
No problem. So, no, the products were, I ran through a few different products. It was kind of like the suggested bids were all over the place. Some were only about $20, and the bids were sky high.
$20?
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. So I looked through a couple of the keywords too. The higher volume ones were around 3,000, and they were about $2, just roughly around $2. And even the lower search volume words were about $2 too, $1.50, $2.
And how expensive is the product selling for?
$20, around $20.
Okay.
15, $20. It's just really weird.
That does seem kind of weird. Is it
Yeah.
like for example, was it a semi-seasonal product where during Easter it's in higher demand?
No, not necessarily. It's just
Okay.
like wedding decor kind of product.
I mean, wedding
sweet.
decor products are getting a lot more in demand, just because, I mean, COVID this last year kind of stopped a lot of weddings, and now
Yes.
people are finally just saying, hey, screw it, let's get married. And maybe that's possibly why. And so there's just more people looking for it, which is creating a more competitive market for the sellers. Honestly, I've never seen a suggested bid over like $5. So $20 does seem a little weird to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. What I would recommend, if you're selling that particular product, is go and put a bid of $2 or $1.50 or something, and
Yeah.
see if you get clicks. And if you don't get clicks, then you might need to increase it. If you get too many clicks, then you're going to want to decrease it. So that's going to be something with that particular keyword. You might need to just kind of test different things and see what's getting clicks and what's not. Because if in fact it is $20 a click, like that's physically impossible to be profitable.
Yeah, $2 a click. But I'm just trying to gauge the suggested PPC cost before I actually try to approach the product. But yeah, it's not only one product. There's like a few different products I was going through. A lot of them just seemed like some of the suggested bids were all over the place. I just want to see if you had any experience with this.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. And I wonder, because I've done that trick as well, as going in and creating a PPC campaign to kind of get a feel for the keyword and how expensive it is. I wonder, when you were doing that, did you have like a product, like a different product that you were kind of testing to test different keywords, or how are you going about testing the keywords to get that suggested bid?
Yeah, so it was like an entirely different product. So I was like a sporting good and to try and test this wedding decor bid.
Possibly Amazon's like wigging out and they're like, hey, if you're going to be trying to rank this keyword from the sporting goods category and you're trying to sell in the home and kitchen category, it's going to cost you more. And maybe that's what's throwing it off.
Maybe,
That's the only rhyme or reason or why that would even make sense to me. But yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll just move on. I probably won't go through that product. Yeah.
Hey, Trevin.
What's up,
Is there
Sam?
a way, I know you guys were just talking about it. Can you test, like, estimate what your PPC costs are going to be before even getting your product, like while it's still being manufactured? Can you do that?
So that's kind of what he was doing. What you can do is if you have a product listed already, you can actually go in and like start creating a PPC campaign. And when you start putting in, and you would put in that campaign, you would do a manual campaign, and then you would put in the keywords of that new product that you're looking to launch and not necessarily the keywords related to the particular product that you're selling. And normally that's what I've done to be able to kind of get a feel for PPC, but I wonder if Amazon's wigging out in a sense of, hey, they're trying to let's take I'm trying to sell a camping tent, and then I'm wanting to go launch an iPhone case. Those are in two completely different categories. And so this is what I'm wondering, if there's some discrepancies in Amazon's kind of wigging out about it. So if I have my camping tent and that's my initial product that I'm selling, I go to create a PPC campaign, and I kind of create it as if I was launching an iPhone case. And so in the keywords, I put iPhone case slim, or slim iPhone case, or sturdy iPhone case. I wonder if Amazon is now like wigging out because they're like, hey, why are you trying to sell an iPhone case on this particular product that's a camping tent that's in the sports and outdoors category, when your actual product is listed in the phone and accessory category? So that's what we did before. And I don't know if Amazon is like trying to fix that and lets you not be able to do that, which I don't know why that would be the case. The only thing is maybe in their system, they have so many different like bots and algorithms and AI that might be like, hey, like that's not going to work. And so that's why they were saying that the suggested bid was so high. So you can go give it a shot and see if that works. But that's like the only really way to test exactly how expensive a PPC bid is actually going to be without actually launching it, if that makes sense.
So you're saying, like, in the example you're just saying, are you talking about testing potential products? Like if you already have a listing in one category, say home and kitchen, and you're looking to see what the PPC cost is going to be for like a sports product, then make your PPC campaign. Because for my situation, I'm just saying, like, my product's being manufactured right now, so I'm thinking about, and my listing's closed, it's not active.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking to take start a PPC campaign and just throw in some manual keywords that are relevant to my product and kind of get a gauge to see what the estimates are going to be. Can I do that? Or
yeah. So I guess since your product listing is already created, it's not active, which it should still work on Amazon side of things. And so basically, yeah, what you do is you would just act like you're creating just your normal PPC campaign, but you would just go to the manual the manual keywords, and you enter them in. And then as soon as you hit add keywords, Amazon auto populates and suggests a bid for that particular keyword. That bid could be off. Sometimes it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's not enough. But that is something that you could go give a shot. And I'll actually test it after this call, and I can post in the Facebook group because I actually have a product that I'm about to launch, but it's inactive. It's closed. The listing is closed. And so I can go in and test it and see if it works on my end. And if it does, then that's something that you can totally do.
oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
So I'll make sure to put that in my notes real quick. Okay. Post honeymoon period, what happens? Do sales and ranking drop? Is everything is status quo? So after the honeymoon period, if you've proven yourself and you're selling, you're getting reviews, things should continue to increase. And so that's kind of why it's important is to take advantage of that first couple weeks, month or so, when you first launch. And if you can get going right away off the gate, then that's when your rank will stick a lot more. For those that don't know about the honeymoon period, if you just are getting into the course, I have an entire video breaking it down. And that's that kind of goes for all of these questions. If you're in watching these lives and you just barely are jumping into the Amazon game, some of these questions might confuse you, and I don't want that to be the case. A lot of them are covered in the course, and so that's kind of what stems these questions. So if you guys are brand new and you have like a super beginner question, ask away. Like there's no such thing as a bad or good question. I want this to be tailored to every individual. And if you have a question, ask it. That's what these are for. And I know that you can ask them via email or ask on the student Facebook group, but sometimes asking a question here, I can answer it better and also quicker.
Hey, Trevin, can I ask a quick one?
Of course, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so I'm just getting started on it, start the course of the day, and went through, I'm just looking at the first product and wanted to check on like whether it's gated or restricted.
Okay.
In the course, you said about creating like a dummy listing to see whether you get approved or not. I just wanted to check, like, is having that dummy listing, like, should I kind of, once I get to that point, take it down afterwards, or if it gets approved, just like keep that one up, or how?
So the one hard thing about the dummy listing, I still like doing it, but the only thing that's happened are where are you located?
In London.
And are you going to sell in the US marketplace or the UK marketplace?
UK.
Okay. So the only issue with the dummy listings as of now is in order to create a listing, sometimes Amazon requires you to go through this approval process. You probably haven't got to that video yet. It's the last video in module 9. It's called an error code 5665. And basically what they want you to do is just prove to them that you have your logo on the product, and they ask you to take pictures of it just to make sure that it's actually your product. And so when it comes to creating a dummy listing, it might take a little bit more effort because you have to go through that approval process. Whereas if you already had a product listed, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example, like the camping tent. So let's say we have the camping tent listed and I have my brand name already, and then I'm wanting to launch a camping chair. It would be a lot easier to create the dummy listing because I already have that initial product listed. Now that might sound kind of confusing, but once you get to the error code video, it kind of breaks that down. And so basically what I'm trying to say is creating a dummy listing right now as your first product is a little bit more difficult. And so there's other ways that you can go about basically verifying and checking whether it's gated or restricted or not. And what I like to do is you can go to catalog. I wonder, I wish I could get onto that Amazon account to show you guys. Let me just try to do this. And if I can, that would be great. But my guess, I don't have the, yeah, dang. It's not gonna let me. And so that's kind of the way to do it, is either creating that dummy listing, but in your case, I have a video where you actually can go take a listing similar to yours, and you find a product that's similar on Amazon, and then you can go to hit add products on Seller Central, and then you can go and see if you're eligible to sell it. And sometimes it will say that, yes, you're eligible to sell it in new condition. Sometimes it will say it requires approval. There's also the hazmat. Again, there's a video on this one as well, but you go to Seller Central, you go to the search bar, and you search like hazmat products, and then it lets you put in an ASIN into a little search to verify whether or not that product is a dangerous good or not. And then if it says yes, it is, then that's a red flag of the particular product that you're launching. So there's a few different ways to go in and check that. And then obviously there's the restricted category list, that if you go search on Amazon Seller Central, you search restricted products, it'll come up with an entire list of categories of what you're eligible to sell in and not. And then there'll also be a list of restricted products that you'll be able to sell in or not. So, and also for that first product, if you want to shoot an email my way, we can kind of go through it, and I can kind of double check on my end to know, okay, is this going to be restricted or not? And most of the time, I've been doing this for quite a bit, that I can just like kind of tell right off the bat if there's going to be a potential problem, whether there's a magnet in it or a marker, or it could be a choking hazard, or it's a kid's product or something. I'm able to kind of know kind of right off the bat, but there are quite a few different ways to know whether or not it's gated or restricted. Hopefully that kind of helped.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't. I've just applied for the Amazon seller account, but I don't know if it's the same in the US, but I have to have like a video call in the UK with them.
Yeah.
Sort of
They actually just barely rolled out with that, which is kind of interesting, which is great in my opinion. It makes it so that you can't just get a bunch of random crazies open up hundreds of accounts. So yeah, once you get that approved, it'll be a lot easier to go into like the Seller Central and the search tab and be able to search for those things.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Welcome in, by the way.
Yes.
Let's see. I know you're busy, but I texted you through IG. Okay, so if you didn't know this, I'm not really doing any communication via IG anymore. I just get too many DMs from random people, and then it mixes up with my students' DMs, and so I switched everything to email. And then if you don't want to message via email, then we have these live calls or the private student Facebook group that you can answer your questions. But the best way to reach me is that student@amzchampions.com email. I'll post it in the group chat. So you're asking about what's a good ACOS click-through rate for PPC. So for me, I think it was last week when I was kind of talking about this. But for me, I'm willing to spend a little bit more on PPC than some people would recommend. And the only thought process for me is, I guess my ACOS goal is break-even point. So you kind of have to go to the profitability calculator, enter in, let me just pull this up real quick and I can kind of show you guys. Hold on. Let me screen share. We'll just do a camping chair. So let's say I'm selling this little camping chair right here that's selling for 89 bucks. I'm going to hit calculate fees, and this is going to kind of help me know, okay, what what is my break-even point for PPC? So let's say the landed cost and everything is $20. And so that means my margins pretty dang good right here. So we got a 55% profit margin. And so basically each unit I have, each unit I sell, I'm making $50. So as long as I'm not spending more than like $50 per purchase, then I'm okay. Obviously you want to try to get that down as much as possible. So if we come in here to the other costs and let's say I'm spending $25 on PPC, I'm still profitable. Let's say I'm spending $50. I'm still a little profitable, and that's kind of like my break even point. So my ACoS, yeah, is going to be a little higher than what I would like, but if I'm getting a sale and I'm not losing any money, to me that's amazing, because that's number one, it's helping my organic rank. Number two, that's a potential customer that could leave a review, and the more reviews I have, the more credibility I'm going to get, and the more people are going to buy my product. And so I'm willing to have my ACoS a little bit higher. And as long as I'm not losing money, I'm going to keep that PPC campaign running as long as possible. Because the more it's running, the more it's getting sales. Number one, it's also going to drop. The ACoS is going to slowly drop over time. And then number two, I'm ranking organically for a lot of different other keywords, and my rank juice is going and it keeps going. And that's the key to getting organic sales, because then when you get organic sales, you might be getting, let's say you're getting 20 sales a day, you might be getting 5 or 8 from PPC. But if you're getting 12 organic sales, and your profit margins here are $50 a product, and you're getting 12 sales, and you times that by 50, that's $600 in profit. And then the other PPC is it's not going to waste. And so that's kind of the way that I look at PPC. As long as the ACoS is lower than my break-even point, I'm happy with it. Obviously, at the beginning of the launch, it might not be that low. It might be a little bit higher. And that's just kind of the way it goes, because obviously when you first go to launch, like for example, this guy right here, he has 20 reviews and it's not very good. He's sponsoring his product. I bet he is in the hole quite a bit because people are clicking on this product and they're probably not buying it near as much as this one who has a lot more reviews and more credibility, or this one who has 30,000 reviews. So over time, if this guy can get this up to a little bit more, to like 100 reviews, his sponsored ad campaigns are going to convert a lot better. So let me see if that, let me come back to chat. So I actually want to talk about something real quick. This is just kind of a initial thought, and this is what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at potential product ideas. This product listing and picture is horrible. At first, I thought it was like you know how these folding chairs come in a bag? That's what I thought this was, but this is like one of those big blow up inflatable lounger chairs, and I could not tell that was what this product was. And so I was super confused at it. And so that's another key component to success on Amazon, is making sure that your main image is the best image on your entire listing. That is so important, because right here, this totally threw me off. And now that I'm looking at it and it's the inflatable lounger, I'm like, okay, I can see how it is. But if we come right here and we type inflatable lounger, guarantee there's going to be a lot better pictures. So like here, you can see exactly what the product is doing. Like there's no questions asked. But on that one, it was horrible. And they're spending money on PPC and just spending it in vain. Like they're literally throwing money on the table because nobody knows what that product is. But if we search for the actual keyword, and let's say this pulled up, when I search camping chair, I would be way more inclined to click on this and buy this product instead of the stupid just orange thing. I know that that has nothing to do with any of your questions, but this is just kind of a learning lesson that you guys can kind of take away, is that main image is so important. And there's not one on here on the first page that I'm confused of what it is. I mean, these ones, I know what it is, but it's so much better when you have a person laying in it, because you can actually see like what the product is doing. So that's something super important. This one is just, that's horrible. Anyways, enough with that. I'll come back to some questions.
Hey, Trevin, can you run through the just go back for a minute and just run through the break even rate again?
Yeah.
Just to figure out, like, like, I know you just did it, but I just wanted to see it again just to figure out what, like, between PPC and your break even rate for your product.
Okay. So you obviously need the Helium 10 tool. You hit calculate fees. I'm just saying hypothetically that my product is $20 landed. So that's one thing. So like the estimated freight cost, I normally don't really do much with it, just because the unit manufacturing cost, I tag in the land, like the shipping cost as well. So to get that, you just go to your Alibaba order. And if you ordered 200 units and it cost you X amount of dollars, you just do the dollar amount divided by the units. And then that's where you would get the actual landed cost at Amazon. And so that's what I'm putting in here. So I'm just saying for this product, I'm not entirely sure what the landed cost is, but I can't imagine it being more than 20 bucks for this little tiny chair. I mean, this guy is really profitable. It's kind of crazy. So I don't imagine it being more. So I'm just guessing, but for you, if you're going to like verify this, you're going to want to get the exact landed cost.
Right.
So that's what I put there. And then right here, the other costs. So I'm going to enter in PPC, but an easier way to tell your break even point is just looking at your net profit. So as long as you're not spending more than $50 to $49 per purchase, then you're totally then you're profitable. So if you're spending less than 50, then you're profitable. If you're spending more than $50 on PPC, then you're not profitable.
Gotcha.
And that's including all of the fees and everything. So that's kind of something to look at.
So in this case, the break even point would be 50 bucks.
Yes, correct.
Gotcha.
I guess if you want to get exact, it would be $50.17. But another thing that you can do is these are normally like really, really accurate, like the Amazon fees. If you want to get the exact number, you would go to your Amazon Seller Central, and you'll be able to see like the product, like this the cost of the product, and then there will be a little drop down that kind of breaks down the fees, and you can go in and kind of look at your Seller Central and see if the fees are accurate or close to this. And it might be off by a couple cents or 25 cents, but it's probably not off by much.
Can you get those fees even if your product isn't active right now?
It might be on there, but it might not, just be because you haven't entered in the product dimensions and the weight of the product. If you've entered in those, which normally you enter those in when you create your first shipping plan. So if you've created a shipping plan, then they should be there 100%. But if you haven't, they may not be there.
Gotcha. Hey, thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughts on Helium 10 new beginner program for 37 to get acquainted with it. So that's actually something cool that Helium 10 did release, is that new $37 plan. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick and we can kind of break it down. Where is it at? I might need to pull up this. Okay, here we go. Where did it go? Dang it. Oh, right here. Okay, so they now have a few different plans. They have the starter and the platinum. The only, I guess, issue, I mean, obviously they have a free plan. It's just when you're doing product research, there's no possible way that the number of uses they give you per day is enough. And so it's the same thing kind of with the starter plan. Like, I don't see a huge, massive difference with the starter plan versus the free plan. Other than you get the X-Ray Chrome extension, unlimited launches. And other than that, I mean, I guess you get profits, but you wouldn't necessarily need profits until you're actually getting going. And so honestly, this is just kind of my opinion on this. The starter plan might be a better option once you get products listed and selling, because I mean, the profits is obviously nice to have. The only thing that and then alerts is something that I would use as well. And if you only have a couple products listed, if you don't have more than 2 products listed, then basically all of the tools inside the starter plan is going to be enough for you. And so that's something that you could consider doing if you wanted. But if you're doing product research constantly and you're looking for products every day, this starter plan is going to be kind of a pain because you're going to basically get only 20 uses in black box. And for example, when I do product research in black box, I probably use 50 uses in a matter of like 30, 40 minutes. And so that's where it's going to cap you. And I'm not sure if this is 20 uses for the month or per day. It looks like it's for the month. And if that's the case, that this one, it says 2 uses per day. So it resets. But if this is 20 uses per month, that's when this is going to be very tricky to do any sort of product research. And so that's when you would want to upgrade to the platinum plan. And then obviously the coupon code AMZ Champions 50 you can get, and it's going to be 50% off this 97. And so it's going to be 48.50 for that first month. And that's what I recommend. Like if you're jumping into the course just barely and you're wanting to go hard on product research and spend time doing it, honestly, I mean, you could try doing this, but you're going to get to this 20 uses very quick, and then you're going to be kind of stuck. And the Cerebro search, I'm doing a lot more Cerebro searches than 2 uses per day. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts on the different plans. The diamond plan is not that necessary, I don't think. Let's see, they have up to 10 markets, 150 uses compared to 3. Like there's not that much unless you're just a massive account. And so the platinum plan is well sufficient. I also have the AMZ Champions 10, which is 10% off for life. And so that will be $87 per month. Do you still recommend to source products where the main keywords are between 0 to 100 reviews? Have you experienced with average over 300? So having the average reviews over 300 is not ideal. The only time I would say that's ideal is if you have just an amazing product that's very different, that's at a very competitive price point, and you have some money in your pockets to go and launch the product properly, get amazing images, doing like everything to that next level. And I recommend doing that regardless of the product. But if you're going to be launching a product that's more competitive, you're going to have to really make sure that you execute that product launch and that listing perfectly. Because if not, it's going to flop and it's going to be an expensive mistake. I'm still shooting the average reviews. It's great if it's under 100. That's great. If it's 120, 150, don't feel like that's just that's a bad product. And that's another hard thing when making videos is I don't want to give somebody like, okay, it has to be between 0 and 100. And if it's 101 average reviews, they have the mindset of, oh, nope, Trevin said it's 0 to 100. I can't do that because it has an average reviews of 101. Don't have that mindset. Obviously be open to it. There's more research to go do. There's multiple keywords to look at. And one keyword might have an average review of 175, but then another keyword might have an average review of 95. And so those are things that you just kind of have to look at and not just be tied down to just that 0 to 100. If there's something above it, that's totally fine. But you have to go in and verify multiple different keywords. And so that's really important to do. But then over 300, that's me personally, I wouldn't be launching that product. Let's see. So Jake asked, when inputting dimensions weight, when creating a listing, a shipping plan, do we put the dimension weight of the item or of the packaging? So it's kind of cool when you go to create your first shipping plan. A lot of times people get confused about this. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 99.9% sure that I mentioned this in the shipping plan video in the course. But the first time you create a shipping plan, it's going to, the very first dimensions that they ask for is the product itself. It's not the big shipping carton, the master shipping carton, it's the product itself. And so that's when you would need to reach out to your supplier. If you have one on hand from a sample, you would measure it with the tape measure and you would put it in there, because if you put like the master shipping carton in those dimensions, your FBA fee is going to be like $50. And so that's, if that's happened, and I know that's happened to somebody, you can go and change it later. But if you see a big, massive FBA fee, more than likely you put in, when it asks for the product dimensions, more than likely you put in the wrong dimensions.
Sorry, can I just jump in? So when I say packaging, I just mean like the individual products, like box that it comes in, rather than the whole like containers box.
Yeah, correct. So what I'm saying is, when you create a shipping plan, it will first ask you for the product itself size, and then you enter in those dimensions. And then as you move along the shipping plan process, at the very end, it'll ask for the master shipping carton. So it asks it in two different situations, but yes, when it asks for the product size, you want to do just the product itself, which is not going to be super big. It's probably going to be semi-small and light. And that's where you enter in those dimensions. Does that answer it?
Yeah, but just in that, like that first one of the actual product, is that literally just like, for example, a water bottle, or is that like if it came in a little box?
It's the packaging size. So on the shipping plan, it's the actual packaging size, but inside your listing, there's actually two different options where it says packaging size and product size. And the packaging size is like, if I'm selling this Rode microphone, it comes in a box. The packaging size is going to be a little bit bigger than the product size itself. And so there are two different dimensions for that. But when creating a shipping plan, they're asking for the actual size of the box. So yeah, that does kind of, I guess, get complicated with a lot of different dimensions and sizes and whatnot. So thanks for clarifying and asking that. Did that clear things up though?
Yeah, it was just, on that the kind of product or that the individual box.
Cool.
That's cool. Thanks.
Okay, so Stacy's asking, I see a few competitors changing their titles and stuffing them with keywords. I know our title is very important and must contain the most relevant keywords, but will we get more juice if we add more keywords, even if it doesn't sound good, or just as good if there's other keywords in our bullets and descriptions? So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to add as many as possible with making it look and sound okay. That's kind of what I'm doing. I know that there are super long titles that just have like just a bunch of different keywords. But if the customer looks at that and they can't just look at the title and see exactly what it is, and it kind of confuses them, that's where I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you can come up with the title and the customer can look at it and be like, oh, okay, I know what the product is, then you could technically go add a bunch of different keywords. But at the same time, if you have them in your description, if you have them in your bullet points, you have them kind of spread throughout the entire listing, you should be able to still totally rank for that product, regardless of whether you're jamming 10 keywords in your title versus 4. And so those are things that you could go test as well. If you have brand registry, you can actually split test the title, which is kind of interesting. It does what I've seen. Your listing has to be doing like high volume for you to be able to do those split tests. But that's something that once you do get your product up and going and you have brand registry, you can do a split test and see which is better. So you asked
I asked
again,
another question.
yeah, if we are staying on the top of our campaigns and making sure our listing is optimized, how much should we expect to spend on PPC after the initial launch? So the cool thing, and I've mentioned this before, my main goal is I'm hoping that my organic sales are paying for my PPC. So that's why I'm not worried about how much I'm spending on PPC, because my organic sales are paying for it. And then also if I'm at that break even point, like I was explaining on the calculate the fees with the profitability calculator, if I'm breaking even, I'm not spending money on that PPC, because when the customer buys the product, the profit left over is paying for the PPC, but then I'm also recouping the cost of the product itself that I can then take to go buy more inventory. So I'm willing to spend as much or as little to maintain that rank and keep that going. I know some people just want to, they'll get ranked organically and they're like, oh, things are going good. And then they'll just be like, I want to be more profitable and I'm going to turn off PPC. And you can do that, but I don't recommend it necessarily. Maybe you can tone down PPC where you're not spending as much, but I hate just turning off PPC and just relying 100% on organic sales. Because like I mentioned, the more sales that you can drive with PPC, the better your organic sales are going to be.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, do you got any, let's see, in the course, you mentioned more than one type of PPC. Do you do all of them at once? So yes, I have a lot of different campaigns running at once. So I recommend there's 5 different campaigns that you can set up. And technically on some of those campaigns, like on a manual keyword search, if you have 50 keywords, I'm not going to put all 50 keywords into one manual keywords search campaign. I might split that up where I'm only targeting 5 keywords in each campaign. So that means I would have 10 manual keyword campaigns. And the reason I do that is it's a little bit easier to track. Sometimes Amazon will favor certain keywords over others. And so that's kind of why I separated out. And I'm actually using, I've talked about this in the past. I've been trying a lot of different PPC softwares, different services, so that I don't have to be manually doing it myself. And the current service that I'm using is very expensive. It's $900 a month. So if you guys are interested in, like, once you get to a certain level and you have quite a bit extra money to spend, then you can message me and we can kind of talk about that service. But it's not necessary. Their strategy is very similar to that, but instead of doing like 5 keywords per PPC campaign, they're doing 1. So I literally have like 800 different campaigns created, and it's overwhelming for me, but I'm not managing it. Somebody else is managing it. And so that's what they're doing. And it's a little bit easier to kind of gauge it. But the same concept, if you have 50 keywords and you have 5 in different, each campaign, that should be plenty. If you wanted to go crazy and do like 1 keyword per campaign, you totally can, but it's not necessary. It's just a lot of maintenance and upkeep, scrolling through everything and looking at it. But there are a few different scenarios for those different things. Beside from PPC optimization, how do you continue to optimize a listing itself after launch? So for me, what I've been doing is at the beginning, I kind of cheaped out on my photographer. I actually took a lot of the pictures myself, and then I had a designer kind of do their thing. And so what I've been doing lately is I've been sending my products to my photographer, and she's basically redoing my entire listings for me, just making them the infographics better, the lifestyle images better, that main image as good as possible. And then at the same time, using those images to help with my enhanced brand content, my A+ content. So if you have, if you're enrolled in brand registry, that's another huge, massive way of optimizing your listing is doing A+ content. That's one thing that I could probably spend a little bit more money on, is getting an actual designer that is experienced with A+ content to literally design the entire listing. That's going to cost me probably $500 to $1,000 to do that. And so I'm just doing it myself with the images that I'm getting from my photographer. So that's a great way to optimize your listing down the road. Another thing that I've done is every single one of my products now have a product video. So I have a videographer. I've used a few different ones to create videos for my listing. And once you have brand registry, that's another way to optimize your listing. And so for the most part, it mainly the optimization over time as you get brand registry, there's things that you can always be adding and changing. And like I mentioned, once you do have brand registry, you can do split testing. So if you have a product that's selling good, like really good, Amazon will let you split test. And basically what will happen is you can split test your main image. So you can have two different main images, and Amazon will show 50% of the customers this image and 50% of the customers this image. And then over a few weeks, they'll be able to know, okay, this one got more clicks, this one got less clicks, but this one got less clicks, but it converted more, or some, they'll give you a lot of different data and statistics to know kind of what's working best. And so that's when you can really fine tune and optimize that listing even that much better. So there's a lot of things down the road, mainly with brand registry. Again, if you don't have brand registry, it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. You don't need brand registry, but those are things that you can optimize down the road. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Back to the question there. When would you know, even after getting brand registry, that you would get that split testing? Like, how much? What did they give you right off the bat, or is it after?
No,
like,
so it has to. It's kind of interesting how they do it. Like on some of my products, I'm able to do it, but on other ones, I'm not, because it has to be like, it has to fit in their criteria. I'm not sure what their criteria is, but it just has to be like a high. It has to be a product that's doing decent in sales. That has enough search, because if it's not getting enough search and if it's not getting enough sales, it's very difficult to do a split test because there's not as much data. So if you only have a product that's getting, let's say 2 or 3 sales a day, and you're doing a split test, you might be 10, 15 people might be seeing that product every single day. And that means there's only 7 people seeing the one listing and 7 people seeing another listing. And that data is not enough for Amazon to say, hey, this one's converting better over this one. Does that make sense?
Right on. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So do you do 5 different keywords on each PPC? So like I said, you can do 1 keyword per PPC campaign. And in this case, I do recommend not, like when you pull up the Helium 10 Cerebro tool, you do a reverse ASIN lookup on a competitor that's similar to yours, you're going to get a list of products. And that doesn't mean to put that entire list, because that could be 50 products, that could be 100 products. Don't put that entire list into just one campaign. Break it up, and so that there's, I'll just say for math's sake and for simplicity, if you have 50 keywords, maybe create 10 different campaigns, and each of those manual campaigns will have 5 keywords in each campaign. So does that clear things up there? Okay, perfect. Stacy, you're talking about, saw that on a competitor's listing. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we touched on that.
I have another question if
Okay,
so
Yeah,
I think I
that's
may have
perfect.
asked this before, but so the product that I'm launching, it's not very appealing to have the main image with a white background.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like the only people that have that are a couple of sellers who are not doing very well. So I think I had asked you, but what do you recommend? Because, and in fact, one of the competitors, I absolutely saw two different main images in the last few weeks. Um, I don't know if they changed it themselves, but they are brand registered.
Mhm.
So do I take a chance? Because I know that's sort of against Amazon's rules, but I feel like it's really gonna affect my sales if, I'm not able to display my product in use, so to speak.
So a few things to look at is you can actually go to, let me show you kind of what I'm thinking here. So if we go to Amazon and I'm looking at this product, so say this is my competitor's product. So I mean, right here, this isn't a pure white background. And so what I'm going to do, I'll actually use this guy as the example. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to see when they created this, this listing. And so what I can do is Helium 10 will pop up right here. And this is something that you can do with yours. So if we come to all time,
Yep.
this is basically seeing the all time. And so they started selling this product in July 2020. So that was fairly recent. A lot of times what happens is Amazon has been cracking down more on these type of images more recently. So within the last year or so. And so I'm surprised that this person was able to get away with it. And honestly, it doesn't hurt. Like it's not going to suspend your account if you have this type of image. It just may not go through and Amazon may not approve it. And sometimes Amazon approves things, sometimes they don't. And so it might take a few times for you to basically submit your listing and for it to update. And sometimes it might flag it. And so what you can do at first is maybe upload the pure white image to the listing. And then once it gets approved and it's going, then you can switch it over to the one that's not a pure white background image.
Okay.
And hopefully, I can't guarantee it, but Amazon might let that slide and go through. And I know that there's a lot of people that do that. But sometimes Amazon like wigs out and sometimes that they don't. And so those are some things that you can test and try to do, but also maybe try to have a pure background image as a backup. That could possibly work if Amazon keeps rejecting you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You explain in your course, stay away from fidget spinners. What about other types of fidget toys? So for the most part, fidget, that keyword flags Amazon's system. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I've tried to sell fidget toys and I literally had to apply to get approved and they approved me. And then I go start to sell it and they totally were like, oh, you can't sell that product anymore. I was like, what? You literally just approved me to sell it and now you can't. So from my experience, I've sold the fidget pen that I've talked about. And then I've tried some other like little fidget like toys that wasn't necessarily a spinner. And every time I have that fidget keyword in my listing, Amazon immediately just like flags it and like requires approval process. And I've gone through and I got approved for it, yet I still had issues. So me personally, I try to avoid it. If you want to give it a shot, you totally can. But just know, I mean, I had issues with it. Doesn't mean that you're going to have issues with it, but at the same time, I just tried to avoid it just because it's always giving me a headache. All right, so we got a question here. I need help with creating my LLC. Can I get a walkthrough? Just don't want to mess up on that regarding tax licenses, etc. So depending, where are you located, Michael?
I'm in Utah.
Okay, so here in Utah, it's super easy to do it. You can either just go on utah.gov. You'll create like a Utah ID like login account, and you don't worry about sales tax, don't worry about withholding. And you're basically going to answer no on all of the questions that they ask you.
Okay.
And it's super straightforward. Like there's not really much that you can mess up on. The only thing that would be important is you're creating it as a limited liability company. And you're going to be a single member LLC. And as long as you do those, it shouldn't be an issue. If you're concerned and you don't want to do it yourself and you're still kind of concerned about messing it up, then I would find a local CPA. They'll charge you maybe $100 or so plus the filing fee. And in the state of Utah, it's $22 for the name reservation, $48 for the business registration. So it's a total of $70 to do it.
Okay.
And so you would basically just pay somebody $100 to do it plus the $70 filing
Makes
fee.
sense. Right. All right. I think I'm at halfway done. I'll go ahead and just finish the rest.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that is it for LegalZoom does a pretty good job. Used it for my first business. I prefer to do it myself now. And that's kind of how it works is once you do it once, people feel overwhelmed with creating an LLC. And I understand like it can be like a little tricky, but once you do it once, you're like, oh, that was super easy. I can do it again. And I've actually created like 20 or 30 in the state of Utah. And so like I can do it in like 20 minutes. So once you do it, it's super good to just kind of do it. And for me, I just kind of taught myself. There wasn't any really video. And so that's kind of another fun thing with entrepreneurship is just learning out and figuring out different problems and being a problem solver. If you can be a problem solver, regardless of the industry that you're in, you're gonna do really, really well in life. My business partner on a new business venture that I'm doing, we've seen this with a lot of our clients and a lot of people. Like they ask questions like for example, how to sign a document. I know this is super random and we're past the 11 o'clock. If you don't want to listen to my rant, you guys can exit off. But I think that this is important for people to understand. They ask a question and they're like, hey, how, like we're sending them over a contract, a W-9, and they have to sign that W-9 digitally. And they're like, how do I do that? And I'm like, go type it in Google. How do you digitally sign a PDF? It'll take you 2 seconds to Google it instead of wasting my time and asking me to explain the entire process. Obviously with the Amazon stuff, I'm not telling you to just go do everything yourself. I'm here to coach you, but there's certain things that will come up in your business that it's a simple Google search, or it's a simple YouTube video that you'll be able to figure something out. And if you can be that type of problem solver, that's gonna go such a long ways. And so I just want you guys, if you get stuck at any given moment, obviously we're 100% here. That's why I have these live calls. That's why I'm here answering questions. But sometimes a simple Google search can answer all of your questions. And so that's something that if you guys can just train yourself to do, is be a problem solver and figure it out yourself. It's going to help you that much more, because when you learn something yourself, instead of somebody telling you how to do it, it sticks in your mind a lot better. Anyways, that's just me on my soapbox a little bit. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We'll plan on next week, same time. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll repost the Zoom link here, hopefully in the next couple days. I try to do it quick, but sometimes I forget, or sometimes just life happens. But I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you very much, Trevin.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hey, Trevin.
What's up?
Are you gonna post this whole Zoom on the student group? I kind of got here a little late.
Yeah, no, I'll post it. There's some really good conversation, and hopefully, I always get worried. It's recording right now. I always get worried that sometimes it's not going to work, but every time it's worked. So I'll post it as soon as I can.
Sweet, thank you, bro. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.